Okay, so continue on now. When you do this this way, unfortunately this cord gets in the way. But what I like to do in the most of the time is I like to drill and get the box all ready and set up. I wasn't able to get the electrician in yet, so the cable you kind of have to deal with by hanging it up, moving it over, that sort of thing. So depending on how you do the project. So I'm sure you saw how I did the angles here. That keeps all your spacing consistent. Now let's say you get to the end and you say, oh, I don't have enough, or I have too much. Not a big deal either way. If you have not enough, you could always undo it and then have the spacing for 3 every one. Or if you have too much, same thing, you could undo it and have the spacing for every 2. The other option is if you have too much, what you do then is you run it back underneath or beside the toilet, underneath the vanity, beside it, anywhere that it can go, because the cable you cannot cut. It has to be the right length, and if you guess wrong, then it's just kind of the way it is, and that has happened. So don't fret, there's always ways around it. Now you'll see here that we have a halfway point. Really nice, really handy to have. Because then you know if you're halfway in the room and you get to this point, things are going well, continue what you're doing. If you come across this halfway and you're way over at the beginning or way almost at the end, you know you have a problem, and then you can fix it. So that's the reason why they use that halfway point. If you're making a run longer than 10 feet, so a 10-foot straight run, make sure you do, I can't remember the name for it, but do something like that right there. So you'll see that it almost has like a bit of a kink here. And what that does, it allows for expansion, because this cable does expand and contract a little bit. And if you keep it straight the whole time, if for some reason there's too much tension on it, I don't know the exact reason, but I know that they recommend you do that. So what I've done is I've actually taken the cable out. There's a small amount that it won't get tangled up. It'll be just fine as is. Keep moving. And remember to always go 2, 3, 2, 3 spaces. But you can see how fast and easy it is once you get moving. And if you're on it in a big area, it goes very fast, very well. And anyone who has tried some of the older systems and how they're set up will tell you how much easier it is to use this DITRA mat. So here we are, right at the end, and I would say that's almost perfect. Because again, it's very difficult to get the perfectly right amount of cable, but this is so close to the wall, nobody walks over here. It's a great spot to end, and we don't have too much, because I didn't really want too much in this particular job. And that's all there is to it then. You'll run the wire up the wall in between, you'll cut out and put an electrical outlet box, and then you'll have an electrician come and install this beautiful thermostat. Right now it's covered in plastic. Just a beautiful unit, and when it's all said and done, it is a great system. So but I need to stress, use an electrician to hook this up. If anything goes wrong, it's not good. Just make sure you stick with a professional who does it right. And once it's in, then retest it, and then when you tile, test it one more time. Something I want to make sure I mention is when you get your kit, take your thermostat out of the box. Inside the box is the sensor cable. Don't do what I've done before and forget about it, because once this is all installed, without the sensor cable, it can't pick up and know how hot or cold it is, so it can't run properly. So the sensor cable goes in between a set of wires. You try and bring it out closer to the middle of the room, give or take, and then you electrical tape it down in a few spots, and then once you mortar it down, it stays in there. Very important, don't forget about that step.